I'm old, I'm puzzled, and I'm only able to change one of those.
I want to apologize for taking so long to get back to the architectural, meteorological prognostication tour of 2024. I originally wanted to do a video essay on Frank Lloyd Wright and the building of Fallingwater, so I listened to an audiobook version of his biography while I assembled the puzzle, and then watched a bunch of other YouTube videos about Fallingwater. And then I realized if you wanted more information, you could just watch those videos yourself. There's a lot of really good videos out there on YouTube. I had wanted to start out in the early afternoon as I was planning on crossing the border at Niagara Falls and then driving down to just south of Buffalo to stay overnight. I kept finding excuses as to why I didn't want to leave. And so it was actually quite a bit later when I finally hit the road. I crossed the Rainbow Bridge in Niagara Falls at 10 o'clock, just as the fireworks over the falls was happening, but I didn't get a good video of it from inside the car. The next day I drove another 4.5 hours into Pennsylvania and finally arrived at Fallingwater. Just a note, if you plan on doing the tour of Fallingwater, you should get online a couple of weeks ahead of time and book your tickets, because they do go fast. So here's a quick history of Fallingwater. In the 1920s, Edgar J. Kaufman owned the Kaufman Department Store in Pittsburgh and a piece of property approximately 70 miles to the southeast near Mill Run, Pennsylvania, which he used as a summer getaway for his family and his store employees to escape the summer heat and air pollution of Pittsburgh. In the 1930s, Kaufman and his wife Lillian decided to build a permanent summer property there. Kaufman's son, Edgar Jr., was studying with the architect Frank Lloyd Wright at Wright's apprenticeship program at the Taliesin Fellowship in Spring Green, Wisconsin. Jr. introduced his parents to Wright, and they decided to hire him to design their summer home. Many people thought Frank Lloyd Wright, at age 67, was past his prime, and he was not designing a lot during the Depression. But it was his masterful design of Fallingwater and his design of what he classified as a strictly American design for a house that he called Usonian, brought about a reassessment of Frank Lloyd Wright and his talent. He later went on to design and create the Guggenheim Museum in New York City. I'll discuss more about the Usonian design in the next video. I think the amazing design of the house comes from the fact that most architects would have created a house across the creek facing the waterfall so that the falls would have been the main thing to look at from the house. Wright's genius was to put the house above the falls so that the falling water was not actually seen from inside the house, only heard, and that his view from across the stream was that of the falls and the house bound together. Wright visited the site on the Bear Run Creek to get inspiration and then did little else about the design. Designed in 1935, the main house was constructed from 1936 to 1938, followed by an attached guest house in 1939. When Wright designed a house, he designed everything in it too: chairs, tables, beds, and desks. The only thing in this picture that he did not design was the dining room chairs, but he later admitted that the three-legged chairs Lillian found were better because of the unevenness of the flagstone floor. The story told in the tour is that Edgar was not happy with the size of the desk that Wright had designed for him in his study. Kaufman told Wright that he needed a bigger desk, and Wright said, "No, you don't." Kaufman explained he needed a bigger desk because he was a businessman and he had to do a lot of paperwork, including writing checks to architects. Wright relented and designed a bigger desk for him, but put in a cutout in it so that the window could still be opened. Lillian Kaufman died in 1952, and Edgar Kaufman died in 1955. In 1963, Edgar Kaufman Jr. donated the house and surrounding lands to the nonprofit Western Pennsylvania Conservancy, which maintains the house and the property. Visiting Fallingwater was amazing, and I highly recommend it. This puzzle is a 1,000-piece puzzle from Puzzles Plus. So let's do this. The second puzzle is a double-sided 500-piece puzzle from Galison. So let's do this too. While I was solving these puzzles, I was listening to the audiobook version of the book Frank Lloyd Wright by Ada Louise Huxtable. In it, she describes Wright's design process for Fallingwater. Quote, legend has it that the house was designed almost instantaneously under the pressure of an impending visit from Kaufman, who had been waiting impatiently for drawings. Although Wright had made 2 site visits to Pennsylvania months earlier and had requested and received topographical maps, he apparently had drawn nothing. When the call came from Kaufman announcing that he was in Milwaukee and would be arriving at Taliesin shortly to see the design, Wright announced that the house was finished. "Come along, EJ," he boomed. "We're ready for you." According to Edgar Tafel and other apprentices who witnessed the incident, Wright sat down at his drafting table and the house poured out of him as he talked aloud, explaining exactly how it would be situated, what it would look like, and how it would be used, where the owners would sit, and the things they would see. Even the way the water would be boiled for tea in a red kettle suspended from the hearth. Plans, elevations, and selections appeared in rapid succession, and he finished triumphantly just as Kaufman arrived. Wright liked to say he shook his designs out of his sleeves like a magician, but he had been thinking about this one for months. Unquote. So thanks for watching the video. Also in the comments is a link to my Buy Me a Coffee page if you'd like to support this channel. And subscribe to this channel to see what other nonsense I can get up to. Because, you know, I'm old, I'm bored, and I'm only able to change one of those.